Today on Judge Faith. When his prized BMW broke down, he took it to their auto shop but says they only made the problem worse.
We got the keys from him, we got in the car, we drove it 2 miles, broke down. Broke completely down.
But they say his story is a lie.
We put 75 miles on it, it never faulted one time.
Now, Judge Faith will decide whose story is fact and whose is fiction.
See, whenever someone starts a sentence with what happened was, I know they're stalling for time.
Plaintiff Robert Matthews says he hired the defendant to rebuild a transmission for his car, but the vehicle still doesn't run properly. He's suing for a refund on a car. Defendant Dave Miller says the plaintiff is lying about the condition of his car, and he doesn't know anything because he finished the job. He's countersuing for fraud. He's accompanied in court by Derek Grimes.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, we have Matthews versus Miller.
Thank you, Barbara. Robert Matthews?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are suing the defendant, Travis Miller, and also Dave Miller, for $3,000 for a refund for a car transmission.
That's correct.
And you are countersuing, sir, for $5,000 for fraud?
Correct.
So as I understand it, Mr. Matthews, you took a car to the defendant's son's auto shop.
That's correct.
To have some work done?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you start? What was the issue?
The transmission was slipping and the lights were coming on the dashboard, which means it needed servicing. I asked him how much would he charge me to rebuild that whole transmission, and he quoted me a price of $2,200 to rebuild the whole thing.
So he quoted you $2,200.
That's correct.
How long have you been working on cars?
35 years in the transmission industry. My parents were in it for 50 years. I've been on my own for 25 years, going on 30.
And when did you pass the company down to your son?
About a year ago. So it's third generation right now. My parents for 50, then I was in it for 25, and then Travis has taken over in the last year.
And is your specialty rebuilding transmissions?
We do. Well, now we do full automotive. For the first 25 years, that's all we did was transmissions.
Okay.
So now we do full automotive transmissions and all car aspects.
You rebuilt the transmission?
Completely overhauled.
Okay. Got it. And so do you have an invoice for the first time? Because I know you said you had to take it back, but do you have an invoice for the first time he rebuilt the transmission?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
May I see that, please? And so you paid the full price for the defendant rebuilding the transmission the first time, right?
Correct.
How long did it take you to do that, sir?
We had some issues with his tranny. It took us approximately, I think, about 30 days. So,
And by tranny, you mean transmission. That's
yes,
the short form for it.
Yes.
Did you work on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Derek's the builder.
Stand up. Oh,
Yes,
you actually did the work.
I'm the transmission builder.
Okay, step on over here.
So I was the one that actually built the transmission. I tore it apart, I rebuilt it, I put all the parts in the transmission. I wasn't the guy who put the transmission in the vehicle, but I'm the one that did the diagnostics. When he came in, scanned it, I talked to Mr. Matthews personally when he came in with the vehicle. He said that there were some codes that weren't in the car that he took out of the car when he had scanned it. Now, he had mentioned that there was a diagnostic code with the transmission control module. Now, he was supposed to show me what that code was, never showed me the code.
Let me ask you this. So you were overseeing
Correct.
this process.
Correct.
Okay. So after you rebuild the transmission, you call him up and you say it's finished, it's ready to go.
Correct.
Did you think that there were any problems after you rebuilt the transmission? I know anytime you're dealing with a 2000 BMW, a car that's that old, and you're rebuilding a transmission, you never know what you're going to run into once
Correct,
that's done.
correct.
But in your expert opinion, after you rebuilt the transmission, did you foresee any problems with it?
No.
You went and picked up the car after 5 days, you rebuilt the transmission, and you say your work is good, it was
sir.
done, you go pick up the car, what happened?
I went down there, a few days later, he says, I need a week to fix the car, a week. Okay, give you a week. Came down there a week later. He didn't call me, I just came down because I hadn't heard from him. I went down and he's, oh, car's ready. It's over there, it's ready. It's cherry, it runs beautiful, everything is fine. So me and the wife, we got the keys from him, we got in the car, we drove it 2 miles, broke down. Broke completely down. She was behind the wheel, shaking and lights coming on the dashboard, and we didn't know what was going on. So she was nervous, people blowing a horn at her and everything, and I was like, pull over, just pull over. And she couldn't even pull over, so I got out and took over, and I drove it back to his shop.
So you didn't even drive it home?
No.
Okay.
We drove it back to his shop. Got it to his shop, and I said, Dave, this thing is messed up. He said, oh, let me look at it. Oh, okay, well, leave it here. I can't do anything today because it's too late. He says, but we'll check it out and let you know what's up. 3 days went by. Didn't hear nothing from him. So I went down, asked him what's going on. He says, ready. I says, ready? He says, ready. He told me, he said, you know what it was? I said, what was it? A fuse. A fuse? I've never, and I've worked on cars too, just like him. I've never heard of a fuse for a transmission. Never.
He drives the car back, he picks it up, he drives it back to your shop. You don't dispute that, right?
No, we don't dispute.
Okay, so what happens when he gets back to your shop?
Coming up on Judge Faith, was his BMW a classic or a clunker?
We went on a test drive. We didn't even get 6 blocks from his shop and it broke down.
The car had multiple electronic problems that his son created.
You're telling me they told you one thing, they're telling me they said something completely different. I'm gonna solve this because I'm going to call these people.
Plaintiff Robert Matthews says he took his classic BMW to the defendant's shop and he returned it in worse condition. He's suing for a refund on a car transmission. Defendant Dave Miller says he doesn't owe the plaintiff anything because the car was fixed when it left his shop. He's countersuing for fraud.
Sir, please go on.
We did some more diagnostic on the vehicle, and it had a blown fuse, and it was putting the vehicle into limp mode, which the car will start out in a higher gear. It's the computer's way of making sure that it doesn't wound the transmission anymore. So we changed the fuse, and it seemed to work really well.
Okay, so how long did it take to change the fuse?
Well, we did more diagnostic than just the fuse.
More
because the car had multiple electronic problems that his son created by going into the window regulator that rolls the window up and down. They had spliced wires into the computer, the transmission control module computer.
When he brought the car back, you have it for 3 days.
Correct.
And you saying in that 3-day period, you did more tests, but your conclusion was the fuse needed to be changed and then the car will work fine?
We didn't know for sure 100% until we got that done. And then
or
we
the
took it for a ride.
transmission would be
Correct.
fine. That's
Correct.
your
Can I say something, Your
professional
Honor?
opinion,
We don't
right?
dispute anything about Mr. Matthews' claim that he did have issues with the first transmission.
Yes.
We couldn't correct it. So the transmission had an internal defect. So I told him, we're gonna go out and buy another unit, a ZF5 HP19, and rebuild it all over and put it back in the vehicle, which we did, and the vehicle worked absolutely perfect. We put 75 miles on it. It never faulted one time. We ran it with the computer all the way up towards Mojave
And did you charge
back.
him for that?
No charge. Drove it around town a little bit the following day. It never faltered one time. We had the computer plugged into it.
Did you do that test after he brought the car back or before?
After.
After. So this was all done after he brought the car back.
Correct.
All right. So, and this is all done on your
One thing I
dime.
would like to add, that when we purchased that other core, it was $725, which we paid out of
Can I
our
see that?
pocket.
Yeah, can I say
All right, so
something?
Mr. Matthews, help me understand this now because they paid $725 for your new transmission. You've paid them $2,500. So what's the issue? What happened?
Okay, they left out a whole lot of stuff here.
No, I just want you to pick up from when you
Okay.
picked up the car the second time around, what happened?
When I went back to get the car, they had the hood up. They were putting radiator hoses on the car.
No, Your Honor.
come on.
That
Come on,
happened
come
the
on.
first time.
Okay,
They were putting
Mr.
radi-
Matthews, I want you to stop. I want you to stop. I want you to listen to me. I am now to the point where you go back a second time. We've discussed how you left with your wife and the car broke down and you took it back. Now you go back 3 days later and you pick the car up and you leave this time. Tell me what happens.
I didn't leave. I took the car. Derek took me on a test drive because he said it's fixed. Okay, we went on a test drive. We didn't even get 6 blocks from his shop and it broke down. And I asked him, what's the matter? What's wrong with the car? He said, I don't know. He said, this was his words. He says, I'm gonna take it back. We're gonna pull the transmission. I'm going on the internet and see what your car has that I can find out.
Where's the
That's
car
the
now?
first time, Your
Where's
Honor.
the car now? Where's the car now?
It's in the garage, sitting at home.
In your garage?
Yes.
Okay, how did you get the car home? That's what I'm
towed it
getting
home.
to.
We towed it home with a dolly.
You towed the car from their shop to your house?
No. We towed it from their shop. This was in Palmdale.
When did you drive the car from their shop to your house?
Me and my wife, we got it from his shop. We took it and we drove it because we were going down to, she had to go someplace in Palmdale. I took it down. As we were getting on the freeway, we felt it jerking and we didn't know what was going on. 6 miles down the road, the car started smoking. You could actually smell the transmission fluid. So right then she said, I smell something burning. I said, yeah, I'll get off. I got off the freeway, we pulled over, and then the car really started to smoke. So people were backing up. They wasn't coming toward us. They thought we were on fire. So I got out, raised the hood up, and it wasn't nothing in the hood. It was underneath. I looked underneath, and it was just smoke coming out.
Okay.
And the transmission was leaking.
What did you do then?
I called for a tow truck.
Who did you call to tow the car?
I called AAA.
Do you have proof that the car was towed on that
Yes.
date, sir? May I
It is
see
right
that,
here.
please? Where did you have the car towed to?
It was towed from, I had it towed to East Side Auto Transmission.
Okay, so you just looked up another transmission company?
No, I asked the tow truck driver where was a good spot to take this car, because it was obvious transmission. And he said there's a place up the street you can take it
East Side Auto Transmission. Barbara, would you hand me that? And what did they tell you at East Side Auto?
They told me that they did a road test, and they couldn't get it to go like normal cars. And the guy brought it back, and he told me, he said it's going to cost $3,000 to rebuild it, $3,500.
So this is what they
That's
wrote.
it right there.
Did you pay $3,200 to this new company?
No, I didn't.
What did you do?
What happened was they told me that they would do the work, if I left the car with them. I didn't have that kind of money because I just gave all the money to him. I told him, I says, well, can we just leave it here until I can find some way to get it home? He said, if you leave it here, I'm not responsible for it, and I'm gonna have to charge you for storage.
So what'd you do?
So we went and got a trailer from a friend of mine, and we put it on the trailer, and we took it to my house, and that's where
it is now. All right.
Next on Judge Faith, is Robert the victim of a shady auto shop? Or is Dave being convicted by a con artist?
This guy is friends with these people. He's been in business 25 years. That's why he can come up here and tell you that never happened when he did.
Just tell the truth. That's all we want. Tell the truth.
I'm going to give one of you an opportunity to tell me the truth because one of you lied to me. Who's it going to be?
Plaintiff Robert Matthews says the defendant never correctly repaired his BMW. He's suing for a refund on a car transmission. Defendant Dave Miller says he properly repaired the plaintiff's vehicle and doesn't owe him anything. He's countersuing for fraud.
You can speak.
Your Honor, this guy is flat out lying.
Oh,
we got a
God.
receipt from
God.
Eastside Auto and Transmission Repair from the technician that drove the car, stating that there was no faults found, no computer diagnostic issues with the car. He told
How did you
me-
get this? Barbara, would you hand it to me?
I called him up and I said,
Well, how
"Hey,
did you know that he towed the car
I
to
told
Eastside
him.
Auto?
He didn't tow it. He drove it there."
No, I didn't drive. I had it towed there, Your Honor. That's a lie right there. The tow trunk, the AAA towed it to that shop. I did not drive that car there.
Your Honor,
Yes.
AAA does not give a receipt that
Yes,
you have
they
in your
do.
hand. No, they do not. We deal with AAA all the time.
I do too.
That is not what they give you for towing your vehicle.
That's AAA. You can call them and find out right there.
And you said
All right, you know
towed
what?
it in on the dollar.
And guess
Yeah.
what?
You said you towed it in on
Mr.
the
Miller,
dollar.
Mr. Grimes,
I towed it home.
this is what I'm
Okay.
going to do. You both submitted evidence to me. This is a really simple thing to resolve because all I have to do is call the shop where you say you had the car towed to. So you say you had the car towed here, correct? I just
Right.
want to be clear before I call them
Right.
and I speak to this person who wrote this letter
The
to the
owner's
court.
name is on the yellow sticky. The person that drove the car's name is on the signature portion of the document.
Okay, because I'm going to
Your
tell you
Honor.
what this letter says. No, I'm going to tell you what this letter says, sir. Because this letter says that you brought the car in and that you complained about a transmission malfunction and that the car was test driven and no issues were found, okay? This is what
Yeah.
he's presenting as a letter from the shop.
What the deal was, was they didn't take the transmission apart. This was his.
Sir, you just told me, I know what I just heard. You just gave me this letter and you said that they told you the transmission was defective and would cost $3,200 to fix.
This is what they said. They said they couldn't take the transmission apart right there while I was standing there. They couldn't do that. What they told me is that if they did the work on the transmission, more than likely, the guy tried to drive the car around and it wouldn't drive. So he told me, he said, to fix that transmission is going to cost that right there.
Right. You told me that they said the transmission needed to be rebuilt. That's what it has written here.
Right, because it wasn't moving. It wasn't moving.
Okay, so that's all I'm trying to get. Before I call them, I just want to be clear. You said that they told you the transmission needed to be rebuilt. Someone from the shop wrote this note. This isn't your handwriting. Right. Someone from the shop wrote this note. That's your testimony?
That's correct.
And they told you it would cost $3,200.
Right.
Okay, you're telling me they told you one thing. They're telling me they said something completely different. I'm going to solve this because I'm going to call these people.
Yeah.
We're in recess.
Amen.
We're in recess.
Yeah.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
Okay, I called the auto shop and I found out the information that I needed to find out to resolve this case and this matter. Before I do that, I'm going to give one of you an opportunity to tell me the truth because one of you lied to me. Who's it going to be?
I'll talk to you whatever you want to know, Your Honor.
What do you have to say, Mr. Matthews?
I have pictures. I have the pictures of the transmission, Your Honor.
Mr. Matthews, I spoke to the person who actually did the test with you on the transmission at this auto shop. Your car was not towed there. You drove it there.
No, I didn't.
Okay, second, I spoke to the auto shop, sir. This is not testimony coming from them.
Did you call AAA?
Sir, I'm calling the shop you say you took the car to.
I understand, but they're the ones that towed it, Your Honor.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. They said they test drove the car and that you told them that you didn't really see that there was a real issue with the transmission, but your wife was complaining. So that's why you were bringing the car in to them. Do you recall telling them that, sir?
Your Honor, what happened was they brought the car.
See, whenever someone starts a sentence with what happened was, I know they're stalling for time. Did you tell them that, sir?
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
Okay, next.
This is what
Sir, they told me that they test drove the car and they could not find any issues with the transmission. They never told you the transmission needed to rebuild. They never told you that it would cost $3,200 to have the transmission rebuilt. Yes, you can say something if you want to start telling me the truth.
I'm telling you the truth. This guy is friends with these people. He's been in business 25 years. He knows these people, and that's why he can come up here and tell you that never happened when he did.
Just tell the truth.
I had AAA.
Just tell the truth. That's all we want. Tell the truth.
I'm telling the truth.
Mr. Matthews, before I left to go out and call these people, you said, oh, go ahead, call them.
Yes.
Now I come back in, and it's not the answer you want to hear, and now you're saying, oh, they've been friends with them for 25 years. Sir, you did not. You came in here, and you committed bold-faced perjury. And you blamed these people who worked on your car. You cannot do that. If you want to come into court and you're going to bring a lawsuit and you're going to bring a case, tell the truth. Your case is dismissed. However, because you committed perjury, I am ordering you to pay them punitive damages in the amount of $500. Judgment for the defendants.
They say he sold them a vehicle that couldn't be driven on the road. But he says they only bought the truck for its parts.
He's just really taking advantage of my father. It really hurts me. He sold him a lemon. All we want is the truck to smog.
I told him that it does not pass smog.
If you have anyone you want to raise your hands at yourself. He's 85 years old.
And later, this landlord says his ex-tenants and their 6 kids destroyed his house and then skipped out on paying the rent.
They refused to sign any more receipts because they were back in rent and they didn't want any records.
According to his document, Judge Faith, he made it to where we were late every month.
I always know when someone repeats the question that I asked that they're stalling.
Plaintiff L.B. Chesney says the defendant sold him a used truck he can't drive because it didn't pass a smog test. He's suing for the cost of the vehicle and punitive damages. He's accompanied in court by his son, Joshua Chesney. Defendant Mark Gushu says he doesn't owe the plaintiff anything because he sold him the used truck for parts only. He's countersuing for lost wages.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, we have Chesney versus Gashue.
Thank you, Barbara. LB Chesney,
Yes.
you are suing the defendant Mark Gashue
Yes.
for $1,925.
Yes.
For the cost of a vehicle you purchased from him.
Right.
Punitive damages, new registration fees for the car, and
Right.
court costs.
Right.
And I understand you have a witness here with you today, and it's your son, Joshua Chesney?
That's correct.
Okay. And you're countersuing, sir, for $500 for lost wages?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We'll start with you, Mr. Chesney. Who wants to speak on your behalf first?
I can speak on my father's behalf.
Okay. Tell me what happened here.
Let me start with growing up, my father and I, we've always been very close. He's always been there for me, and now that he's older, I want to be there for him.
How old is your dad?
My dad's 85 years old.
Okay.
He bought a truck from Mr. Gashue, and it won't smog. He's a nice guy. We just want the vehicle to be smogged.
Do you have a photo of the truck?
We do.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, and is this the truck?
This is the truck.
Why were you looking to purchase a truck, sir?
Oh, I have a few rentals, and occasionally I need to haul away trash or get our new refrigerator or something like that, and that was the purpose for getting that.
What was the agreement with Mr. Gashue about the purchase price of the truck?
He was asking $1,300, and we finally agreed at $1,100.
And you
He
paid
signed
cash for the truck?
I paid cash for it, and he signed the pink slip over to me.
So you were there when your dad purchased the truck as well?
I was there when my father purchased
Did you
the truck.
test drive it?
We test drove the
okay.
truck. I drove the truck for him. Mark had made us aware of some of the problems with the truck.
But you were buying it as is?
We were buying it in the condition and as is.
Okay.
As far as we knew that the brakes were spongy, we knew that the passenger door didn't close all the way. We knew that you didn't need an ignition key to start the vehicle. We knew that there was some problems with it. But when it came to the smog, that was never discussed. We took it to 2 different places. Each place was a gross polluter.
Did you know that this truck was a gross polluter when you sold it?
I sold it to them as a parts truck. I told them that it does not pass smog. I told them everything about it.
You say you sold it as a parts vehicle. You
Yes.
made that clear to them?
Yes.
You
I was
cannot
trying to-
drive this car.
Yes.
You're selling it
That's
as a
not true.
parts vehicle
did-
only.
I didn't even want them to take it around the block, but they insisted.
That's
you
not
know,
correct.
Hey, let's pump up, let's pump up the tire. Let's take it around the block.
Because you told them that the car cannot pass smog, so you can't drive this
right.
car.
And the tags
That's
were already
not true.
expired, so I didn't want them to drive it around the block and get pulled over. Or
Had
whatever.
you
That's
registered
not
the
true
car
at
as a
all.
non-operational vehicle?
No, I haven't.
Do you have the ad for the truck? Let me see it, please. And how much do you say they paid you for it?
$500.
No, that's not correct. My dad gave him $1,100 cash.
So here's the Craigslist ad that you just gave me. You were advertising the car for $1,300.
Right.
So you mean to tell me you were willing to accept only $500 for the truck?
Yeah.
You say you only sold the truck for parts only.
Right.
And you made that clear. It was not to be driven.
It even says in the ad.
No, let's go over the
parts
ad.
truck.
You want me to skip over everything else the ad says and get to the parts only, but there are a lot, this ad says a lot more than that.
Yeah.
1998 Chevy truck. You made it clear to them, you say that it could not be driven. Here you have runs good.
It does.
What does that mean? What are you trying to tell them
Like
when you put in an ad?
I mean, they
Sir,
said-
let me ask you a question. When you put into an ad that the truck runs good, what are you trying to tell someone who may be a potential buyer of this truck?
I'm saying that you can get in it, you can put the key in it, you turn it over, it'll turn right over.
We're going to read your ad because this is what you wrote. Next, transfer case leaking, besides that, runs great.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So what do you expect someone who's looking to buy a truck, what do you expect them to take from that when you tell them it runs great?
It does run great. I
You
mean,
expect someone to be able to drive it and it is going to run great.
in order for...
Then
for-
you write, as is sale, parts truck, passed smog last year.
Coming up on Judge Faith. Did LB forget to read the fine print? Or is Mark just trying to make money off his mistake?
We knew that there was some problems with the truck, but when it wouldn't pass smog, and my father called him and pleaded with him after we took it to numerous places that he suggested, it just breaks my heart to see my dad have to go through this.
I told them it didn't pass smog. I told them that it had back fees. I told them everything that was wrong with it.
The only reason you put that in an ad is because you know in order for someone to drive a car in California, it has to pass smog.
And later, Judge Faith teaches these three a lesson in correct courtroom conduct.
If you want to settle this outside of court, I can go back to the back. I can have lunch, try to settle this amongst yourselves. I'm happy for you to go out in the hallway and do it right now.
Plaintiff L.B. Chesney says the defendant sold him a lemon that can't pass a smog test. He's suing for the cost of the vehicle and punitive damages. Defendant Mark Gushue says he doesn't owe the plaintiff anything because the truck was sold for parts only. He's countersuing for lost wages.
Now, when you're telling someone your truck passed smog last year, what exactly are you saying to them?
I even presented the smog test where it passed smog to them.
And why does why is it important that a potential buyer knows if a truck passed smog, sir? Why is that an important fact for you to include in your ad?
It passed smog last year.
Why is that an important fact for you to include in your ad to sell the truck?
Because, I mean, you know, there's parts on it that'll show that, like, it has passed smog, you know?
That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense. You can't even come up with a good reason. The only reason you put that in an ad is because you know in order for someone to drive a car in California, in order for you to sell a car that's over 4 years old in California, it has to pass smog. This is your ad.
Right.
You're putting this in your ad in order to sell this truck.
And I was selling it as a parts truck. It
Judge,
says on there.
You know, he's just really taking advantage of my father. It really hurts me. He sold him a lemon. We knew that there was some problems with the truck, but when it wouldn't pass smog, and my father called him and pleaded with him after we took it to numerous places that he suggested, it just breaks my heart.
I told them it didn't pass smog. I told them that it had back fees. I told them everything that was wrong with it. I told him it obviously wasn't ready to go on the road.
I think it's pretty convenient for you to come into court now and say that you told them all of those things, but I'm telling you, your ad, before you ever knew you were going to be sued, before you ever knew you were going to be brought into court and have to explain yourself, before you ever knew any of that, your ad, your own words contradict everything you're saying. For you to take advantage of an 85-year-old man who's coming to you, don't do that. Don't do that. If you have anyone you want to raise your hands at yourself. He's 85 years old.
That's what I'm saying.
And you made an illegal sale. You made an illegal sale of a truck. And when he comes back to you and tells you that the truck is a gross polluter and can't pass smog, guess what? You have an obligation to give him his money back. Here's what it would take for me to believe you were selling this truck for parts only. If you registered the truck as a non-operational vehicle, then and only then would I accept your testimony that you were selling this truck for parts only. But when you advertise that you're selling a truck that runs great, that runs well, that tells me you told them they will be able to drive this truck, and they didn't. So let's get to your counterclaim. What is your counterclaim about?
Well, I mean, because he's bringing me here for loss of wages. Yeah.
Right, because you fraudulently sold him a truck you shouldn't have. So you're not getting any money from him.
That came out of your mouth. I didn't say that. Yeah.
Right, it comes out of my mouth because that's my opinion and that's my ruling, sir.
But if you
and it's my courtroom.
If you look at the...
First, I want to say, I think it's pretty admirable that you're here today with your dad, because I understand what it's like when your parents start getting older and you're trying to protect them and be there for them and make sure that they're not being taken advantage of. And I think it's a really good thing that what you're doing, looking out for your dad. So my judgment in this case, I'm ordering you to pay $1,450 to the plaintiffs. Have a good day.
Plaintiff Ronald Washington says his former tenants never paid rent on time and trashed his house. He's suing for unpaid rent, late fees, and damages. Defendants Tamiko Fleming and Melvin Johnson say they don't know anything because the plaintiff was a landlord from hell who harassed them every month for rent, then had them evicted. They are countersuing for harassment.
Ronald Washington, You are
Yes, you are.
suing the defendants, Tamiko Fleming and Melvin Johnson, for $7,113. You say they owe you for unpaid rent, late fees, and damages to an apartment unit.
Yes.
And you are countersuing for $1,500 for harassment?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll start with you, sir. You say you had to evict the defendants. Tell me why.
I had to evict the defendants. Once we entered into the contract, they were supposed to pay $1,000 in the first month's rent. What happened was they paid $700. They said, we're going to give you the rest by the time we move in. Okay, it came
Security
in,
deposit.
$1,000 security deposit, and then $1,300 for the rent.
Okay.
Okay. They were supposed to be paying weekly. By the time that the third came, they were supposed to have it all paid. By the time, a little after the third, I went on a 16-day cruise. Okay, I wrote them and told them, look, just put the money in the bank. They said, oh, well, we can't get a receipt. I said, when you deposit the money in the bank, they give you a receipt of the deposit that you made.
Why don't you give us a receipt?
Let me ask you a question, because you've sued for 1 month of unpaid rent, which is May of 2014, and you've sued for a number of months for late fees at $100 a month,
Yes.
at least 8 months.
Yes.
So I need you to show me how you can prove that they paid their rent late for 8 months.
Exactly.
I will do just that.
And according to his document, Judge Faith, he made it to where we were late every month.
Well, you provided me with 4 receipts from October,
Which matches
November.
Which matches right there how they paid.
November, he
and how they
stopped giving receipts.
You provided me with receipts, 2 receipts for October, 2 receipts for November. Is that all you have?
You see, I was having their signature on it. They refused to sign any more receipts.
Why
So
would we refuse to sign a
They
receipt?
refused to sign any more receipts because they
Proof
were
of
back in
payment.
rent, and they didn't want any record, me keeping
even
any
sign
record of
one.
how they were being behind in rent. So I started making a record of their
That's a lie.
payments
Right there.
If you check their records,
In
you see
April, you
that
wanted
writing,
to
some of that
charge
writing on there
us
is light.
$655.
Some of it is, some
then
of
you
it
wanted
is
to
dark.
charge us
That's a counterfeit document.
$2,175, $197.
Guess what? If you want to settle this outside of court, I can go back to the back. I can have lunch. There are a lot of things I can do right now. If you guys want to talk amongst yourselves, try to settle this amongst yourselves, I'm happy for you to go out in the hallway and do it right now. Is that what you want?
Not at all.
No.
Okay, so I have a question, and I want him to answer it, and I want you to stop interrupting, okay? You're saying to me you tried to give them receipts for the money that they paid, and these people who are giving you money refused to accept the receipts you were giving
Correct.
them.
Thank you very much.
Do you have photos of the damages?
Set up. Do I have photos of the damages?
It's not a trick question.
See, I always
trick
know when
question.
someone
Yes,
repeats
I
the
do
question
have-
that I asked that they're stalling.
Next on Judge Faith, the tales get taller as these 3 continue to twist the truth.
He texts me on the 4th, on the 3rd of the month, asking me when to pay rent. We are late.
Here's a statement right here
You can't count.
where they said they volunteered. The judge said pay the rent.
Let me explain something to you, because you're in front of me now, and I'm the judge ruling on this case, so I'm going to explain to you how this works.
Plaintiff Ronald Washington says his former tenants trashed his house and skipped out on paying the rent. He's suing for unpaid rent, late fees, and damages. Defendants Tamiko Fleming and Melvin Johnson say they don't know anything because they paid the plaintiff his rent and he had them evicted. They are countersuing for harassment.
Let's look at this on the monitor. Okay, what is this a photo of?
That's a photo of a filthy house that was left. The carpet, as you can see the carpet.
And you can also
it's
see that there's
filthy.
no,
You can see the debris on the floor.
there's no outlets.
It's filthy.
Miss Fleming, please tell me what I'm looking at. What room is this in the house?
That's one of the children's room. That's an upstairs a room, if I'm not mistaken.
And what's the issue
Or
here?
that-
Trash on the floor?
Trash on the floor and the carpet is filthy.
Now, mind you, Your
Okay.
Honor,
Next photo.
And this is the
dog.
filthiness of this stairs. There's no way you move into
That's
a
normal
house
wear and
with
tear.
stairs
You
looking
gotta
like
get
wear and
that.
that
tear.
upstairs with 6
That's
kids
dirt.
in the house.
That's not wear and tear. That's dirt.
We have kids that play sports. We have kids that play sports.
Okay, next photo.
They're gonna have dirty shoes.
And they had, I guess they didn't eat too much neither because they left a refrigerator full of food.
That's also
junk
when
all
we were
over the
evicted.
refrigerator, all over the floor, everything.
And why did you evict them? Because they didn't pay May rent?
Yeah, because they did not pay rent. They were constantly behind.
Because he didn't want to come pick
get
up
up
the rent.
rent.
Let's say that.
And in the lease, it doesn't have an
Okay,
address.
now that doesn't make any sense to me, because you're telling me that you had money for rent and
Yes.
he didn't want to come and pick it up, and that's the reason why it wasn't paid. Why is it his responsibility to come and pick up the rent?
If you look at the lease, it never says where we are supposed to, send the rent, mail it, deliver it,
nothing like that.
so on and so forth. We
So
had a
how did you
verbal
pay
agreement.
rent for all the months leading up to May when you didn't pay rent? Because you managed to pay every other month.
He was initially coming to pick
first.
it up. And then we started asking for receipts. And that's when he came out, I don't give out receipts. And
You
then at that
sent them
point,
notice of eviction when, sir? When did you send them the notice of eviction?
I
Like
sent
May
my notice for
21st.
eviction of...
May 21st.
Yeah.
May 21st? And they had not paid May's rent at that point, correct?
Right.
Right.
Okay, and so you guys never paid May rent?
Right.
Okay, so you owe for May rent.
Correct.
I would not
I
argue
don't
that.
I don't accept the excuse or the reason he wouldn't come and pick it up. I couldn't get the money to him. He was too difficult to find. Because you lived in this house for several months leading up to May, and you managed to pay the rent. You managed to find him.
Very
So
true.
I don't accept
Now,
that excuse for May. No, sir.
No.
We're moving
Judge
on. Okay, what's your counterclaim about? You have a
Can I say something,
counterclaim
Your Honor?
for
Please.
harassment.
Complete harassment.
What's that about?
I have text messages that he texts me on the 4th, on the 3rd of the month, asking me when to pay rent. We are late. He texts me.
Well, how is that harassment if he's trying to collect rent?
Well, that was
I mean, that seems like it would be a normal thing for a landlord to do. You admit to not paying May rent, so you still owe for May rent. So that's $1,330 for May
They didn't pay June either.
that I'm ordering you to pay. You
were out of
evicted
there
them,
in
sir.
No.
You evicted them in
Ma'am,
May.
Here's a statement right here.
You can't count
where
me.
they said they volunteered. The judge said pay the rent.
Sir,
The judge didn't say leave, he said
you
pay the
evicted
rent.
them. Let me explain something to you because you're in front of me now, and I'm the judge ruling on this case, so I'm going to explain to you how this works. You evicted them in May. You cannot sue them for future rent after you evicted them. If you want to sue for past rent they didn't pay, fine, but you can't sue for future rent they didn't pay when you evicted them.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
Here's my ruling in this case. Because there are a lot of numbers here, and neither one of you have great evidence of proof. The issue that I have is if you're a landlord, you're trying to think too far ahead when you want them to initial receipts, so you say, oh, I'm going to stop giving receipts. Because then I can't keep track of how much they've paid and when they've paid. Because you only gave me 4 receipts, and the problem
Can I say
is,
one thing, y'all?
no, you cannot interrupt me again.
You're missing my evidence.
I'm not missing your evidence. I've looked at all of your evidence that you
Ma'am,
cannot
I
interrupt
promise you,
me.
can I say one
Sir,
thing?
do you want your case to be dismissed outright? Keep
I'd like to
talking.
say one
That's
thing.
the next thing I'm going to do. Don't utter another word. Oh, so you think this is a joke? When I say something, I mean it. Like I said before, you guys can go and settle this between yourselves. Your cases are dismissed. Have a good day.
They rented a house to her brother, but never imagined what would happen next.
It looks like a dance floor. There were speakers. There's a temporary wall there.
I would just have parties in there.
Now they say the house is destroyed and he's responsible.
See, the problem is my brother thinks this is a
I
joke.
told you to stay out of it from the beginning, Jessica. You wanted to get involved. I begged you to stay out of it.
But he says they're just out to take his money.
First time living on his own, out of his parents' house, and you basically went buck wild.
Plaintiff Rick Vayu says he rented his house to his girlfriend's brother, and then the defendant destroyed it. He's suing for past due rent, utilities, and property damage. He's accompanied by Jessica McInnes. Defendant Lenny McInnes says the house was already in disrepair, and he doesn't know anything because there wasn't a valid lease.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, we have Vayu versus McInnes.
Thank you, Barbara. Rick Vayu,
Yes, ma'am.
you are suing the defendant Lenny McInnes
Lenny's fine.
for $6,287, which includes unpaid rent, utilities, and property damages to a home you own?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand the statutory maximum in my court is $5,000?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so why don't we start from the beginning? Tell me what's going on here.
Basically, I wanted to give my brother-in-law a chance at renting my first home.
What do you mean by kind of brother-in-law?
Well, this is my girlfriend, Jessica McInnes, and
Okay, that's my brother.
that's her brother. So
So not quite brother-in-law, but
Not quite
maybe one
brother-in-law,
day.
but we have a child and
Okay.
together, and we have a good family relationship.
How long have the two of you been together?
Going on 7 years.
Okay, so you've known him for a while.
Yes.
Rick and I were having another child. We needed a bigger home. My brother showed interest in wanting to rent the house out.
Where were you living at the time, sir?
I was living with my parents.
And how old are you, Lenny?
27.
27? Okay. So when you moved in 2010, you were 23?
23, yep.
Okay. Was this the first time you lived outside on your
Outside my
own,
parents' house,
outside
yes,
of your
Your Honor.
parents' house?
Yep.
Okay. This was the house you were living in together
Yes.
with your child.
Correct.
You were having another child, so you wanted a bigger house.
Correct.
So you found a larger house, and then you decided to keep the smaller one and lease it out.
Correct.
I'm looking at the copy of the lease now. It started in January of 2010, and it ended January 2011. Did you sign a subsequent lease?
I signed no other lease. That's the only papers I signed.
Okay, so then by default, he's under a month-to-month lease then?
Correct. We gave him some leeway on it. We didn't charge him a full amount for a security deposit.
How much did you ask him to pay for a security deposit?
Actually, it was $300.
Okay, and how much was
it wasn't
the
given
rent?
all up front anyways. I had to
Rent
kind
was
of
$700.
Okay,
$700.
so that is a pretty good deal, sir. So you move out on what month?
I just moved out August of this year,
August what, sir?
31st.
Oh, so wait, you moved out on August 31st. When did you notify him you were moving out?
September 1st.
Okay, so you understand that's a problem.
Well, we finished moving all of our stuff out late
You
that
didn't.
evening.
Why? Because you moved out and you didn't tell him you were leaving. That's a problem.
Right.
You understand that?
Yes.
Because when you're on a month-to-month lease, you have to give the landlord 30 days notice that you're moving out, so they can in turn then find somebody to rent the property if
Right.
they so choose.
But
So
he
you
said-
gave no notice and you moved out on August 31st?
Yes.
Okay, so you're suing for 1 month's rent. You have to pay for rent for September.
Well, Your Honor, a month and a half prior to that, he jumped my rent up $150. Sent that to me in a text midway through a month.
From $700 to $850 in 4 years?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're complaining?
Yes, Your Honor.
Really?
Yes.
That's a good deal, sir. You're getting the family discount, just so you know. In 4 years, your rent didn't go up.
Well, it did go up. When I was...
And there's a reason behind that, Your Honor.
No, there's no explanation needed. $700 you were paying $700 in 2010. He went up $150 in 2014, and you're complaining about it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Am I being punked? Like, is Ashton Kutcher going to come running out of here? I just want to know. It's amazing. You owe September rent. You didn't give notice, you owe September rent. What else do we have?
Well, we're going for the water bill that he didn't pay since 2012.
You didn't pay the water bill for 2 years?
Your Honor, you can look in the contract. It states that the landlord pays the water bill.
Actually, what the lease says, sir, is that the landlord agrees to pay up to $40 towards the water bill, and you will be responsible for the remainder.
Right.
So when you moved in 2010, you understood that, right?
Yes.
And you were paying the water bill, correct?
I never paid the water bill.
I'm sorry, I'm a little confused.
I never paid the water bill.
Is there a reason why?
It was a 3-month cycle on the water bill, and the most it ever got for that 3 months was like $37.
But he never submitted the water bill to us.
Okay, so let me ask you something. So who do you think, you're getting the bill? You're getting a water
we were
bill,
both
correct?
getting a bill because it goes to him as the homeowner.
And you're saying your water bill stayed under $40 for 4 years, and so you never had to pay a water bill as a result
I never
of that?
paid a water bill.
He had a hot tub as well, so he was filling a hot tub.
You had a hot tub, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
So the total water bill that he owes is $1,014.87.
When you were getting water bills, did you see that there were late charges because the bill wasn't being paid, sir? Or you just weren't opening the bills?
I wasn't opening the water bills because the...
How do you know that they were under $40 every month for 4 years?
Complete neglect.
He would send me text messages saying the water bill is this, the water bill is this, the water bill is this.
That's
and
right.
I just ignore it because the contract states that he's going to pay the water bill.
Is it true that the bill was under $40 each month?
No.
Okay.
And he was supposed to supply us the water bill when it came in the mail.
Were you paying the $40 that you said you would contribute to the bill every month?
No, I didn't. But on the lease, it states that I would pay $40 towards the water bill if he provided me with the water bill.
That's what it says.
Because I do have my own life. I have a job. I have kids. yes, it's my property and I take responsibility for it.
It's kind of a strange term to put in a lease, but for whatever reason, that was the term that he put in the lease, that you would have to provide him with the water bill and he would pay up to $40 of the bill, but you never did that because you weren't even opening them, right?
Right.
Okay, so you owe for the water bill.
Coming up on Judge Faith, is Rick just trying to get money to fix up his aging house? Or did Lenny take his home decorating project too far?
When me and my buddy first moved in, he said, if you're going to tear down any walls, just don't tear the whole house down.
What landlord would say that? We also, in the garage, he also put in a illegal stove, which could have burnt down my garage.
And he lived there for 4 years, so you're going to have, as a landlord, you're going to have some repairs you have to make to the home.
Plaintiff Rick Vayu says he never expected his girlfriend's brother would become a deadbeat tenant. He's suing for past due rent, utilities, and property damage. Defendant Lenny McKinnis says he doesn't know anything because his landlord didn't have a city permit to rent his house and it was an illegal lease.
Let's go to the next part of your lawsuit, which is the biggest portion of your lawsuit, damages.
Yes.
You say that Mr. McInnes caused a number of significant damages to the home.
Correct.
Now, you brought photos of the damages.
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'd like to take a look at those in the flat screen.
I have, well, this
What is this?
This is the house pretty much when just after he had left. It just shows overgrown weeds. I never kept the property like that. I mean, right behind the fence there, it was just way overgrown. I mean, that's just a basic example.
But you do know tenants don't take care of your yard like you would, right?
Well,
like
in the lease,
you
it
know
states that he should. So, that he should.
But you know how it is.
One of the largest damages.
This is Lenny who doesn't pay the water bills.
Correct.
So you have to,
But I figured if he was half as
here.
good as my beautiful girlfriend, then I was in good luck. I had a good chance.
You should have known that, and he's lived there for 4 years, right? So these issues are a long time coming.
Right.
Let's
And
go
I
to the
understand I
next
can't get
photo.
everything, so that I'm asking for. But now this is the front bedroom. It used to be my daughter's bedroom. There's mold there on the bottom there, which basically.
Well, I don't know that that's mold. Looking at the, is that mold?
That's mold.
Okay, where did?
The carpet is destroyed because of the mold as well. Now I'm not asking for full reimbursement of that room because it's probably partially my fault. I don't have gutters, or didn't have gutters on the house.
Okay, so that was what was the issue with the mold?
Well, we had a desk and some storage bins, and I have pictures here.
Barbara, would you hand those to me?
We had a desk underneath that window and some storage bins and just some shelves and stuff on the wall. And so when we were moving out is when we found that stuff. We had to throw our desk away. So I went outside, I looked, there's no gutters on the outside of the house. It's all just coming in under.
So you didn't realize until you were moving out that there was mold?
That's correct.
And one of the reasons was because of the gutter issue,
there's
not
no
having
gutters, yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next
And
photo. I
it's
want to
because
keep.
of this photo, Your Honor.
Well, hold on,
why.
let's see.
Yeah, that's where that mold was that we were talking about. That's the condition that he lived in.
Well, but I don't know what it looked like before he moved in. Are you telling me that? Do you have before photos?
I do have before photo.
Okay, let's go to the next photo. Is that mold?
It's probably because that tiling that's on the wall is cardboard.
Did it look like this when you moved in?
It wasn't that bad. No. And I even redid the caulking on there. Mm-hmm. But that tile that's on the shower wall is cardboard.
It's shower wall.
Once water gets behind there, there's no stopping it.
I don't know that I need to see the before photos based on what I'm seeing right now, Lenny. I'm not sure if I need to.
Yeah, I mean,
let's go to the next
he
one.
didn't clean it. I mean,
What is this?
those are my cabinets that actually Jessica and I reworked. They used to be brown, ugly cabinets. We reworked them. When I came into the house to look, he put screws into the cabinets to hold them. He could have contacted me and said, hey, your cabinet faces are loose. He didn't do that.
Your Honor.
Okay, so what's going on here?
I got 3 cabinet faces that are destroyed.
You opened the door and it fell off. The whole drawer just fell apart.
And that's what you call a repair? I mean, that's horrible.
What is this?
That's his play site, I guess, that's a garage door. He used it as a backdrop for hockey. He plays hockey.
There are a lot of dents in that garage door.
And it's
Did you
pushed
do that?
in as well.
Yes,
It's pushed in as well.
Why?
I have no reason.
I mean, that's one of the big items, Your Honor. It's the average. I've got 3 estimates on that one. 2 are $1,000 and one's $915. The average is $957.50.
I mean, after you put a few dents in the garage doors.
It still works.
No, it doesn't.
It only works halfway.
I would think that after you put a few dents in the garage door, you would say, this might not be a good idea.
Yes, Your Honor. It still worked.
Maybe he can explain that one more than I can. There's a temporary wall there where the garage door is, and it looks like a dance floor. There was speakers. I don't know what he was doing.
Were you in a
to be
band?
honest with you.
No, I would just have parties in there.
This is the garage?
Yes.
See, this is what happened. You moved in at 23 years old.
Yes, Your Honor.
First time living on his own, out of his parents' house, and you basically went buck wild.
But
that's what you did.
Right. But Your Honor, in the garage, he also put in a illegal stove, which could have burnt down my garage.
Were you barbecuing in the garage?
No. It was,
Yeah,
there
a
was
wood stove.
It was a wood stove, and there was a hole in the corner already.
And what was the purpose of you putting a wood stove in the garage?
Heat.
For the parties?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get permission to build a stage?
He said...
In the garage?
When me and my buddy first moved in, he said, if you're going to tear down any walls, just let me know. He said, you don't have to paint, you don't have to do any of that, just don't tear the whole house down.
What? What landlord would say that? What are you talking about?
That
He
doesn't
told
make
you
sense.
to treat the home like it was his.
That's right, because I worked hard on that house, getting it to
See,
be
the problem is my
first
brother
home.
thinks this is a joke, and he doesn't understand that I'm
Absolutely.
losing time from my daughter.
Then
I'm
why are
working
you here?
60 to 80
Then
hours
why
a
are
week.
you here?
So I don't have to keep fighting with you.
Yeah, I told you to stay out of it from the beginning, Jessica. You wanted to get involved. I begged you to stay out of it.
And I told you to come to me if you needed help.
I begged you to stay out of it. I begged you to stay out of it.
And now I'm working 60, 80
Well,
hours
she
a
can't. Let me
week.
tell you something. She can't stay out of it because this was their home.
Next on Judge Faith, can this sister and brother put the past due rent behind them, or is their relationship damaged forever?
He's been late on rent multiple times, and I've thrown money into rent. Even though him and I are boyfriend and girlfriend, that was still my brother.
Begged my sister to stay out of it because she's the only one working.
She's the reason why you lived in that house for 4 years and the rent never went up.
Plaintiff Rick Vayu says he and his girlfriend thought they were doing her brother a favor when they rented him the house, but instead the defendant became a tenant from hell. He's suing for past due rent, utilities, and property damage. Defendant Lenny McKinnis says the house was falling apart and he doesn't owe them for normal wear and tear.
You moved into their home.
I moved into his home.
No, it was their home that they built together. She's the reason why you got the discount, young man. You understand? She's the reason why you lived in that house for 4 years and the rent never went up. So you don't know because you've never lived out on your own. In the real world, it doesn't work that way. You moved out without any notice, without giving him even a day's notice.
Right.
Absolutely zero respect for
Your Honor,
the landlord-tenant relationship, but also the relationship with your sister.
when he increased my rent $150, the Michigan law requires you a 30-day notice on that, and that would breach any contract.
No, it doesn't. I prorated the rent because he even put it in a text message, Your Honor, regarding I need 30 days notice. So he had just admitted that he needed 30-day notice, but I even prorated it for 30 days. So he didn't have to pay the full $150 increase in rent. He only paid $96.
What is the relationship with the two of you like now?
We haven't spoken since this whole year. Before that, I told him multiple occasions. He's been late on rent multiple times, and I've thrown money into rent without Rick knowing, because even though him and I are boyfriend and girlfriend, that was still my brother. He was still my brother, was. But now, I told him to come to me. I was like, Gia, if you cannot pay the $150
extra in rent,
come to me and let me know. And he didn't. He
Did
moved
she tell you
out.
that?
She did tell me that, Your Honor.
You have no excuse. I'm sorry. You know what?
Your Honor, it's not fair to my sister.
You have no excuse. You should be ashamed of yourself for how you have acted, how you treated that home, how you treated your sister. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Your Honor. I begged my sister to stay out of it because she's the only one working. She's the only one providing for
And
their
I
family.
told you to come to me, and you know I'm the only one working.
Let me tell you something. That's not your business. Your business is to pay rent when it's due. Your business is to pay the water bill when it's due. And stop playing hockey on someone else's garage and putting 100,000 dents in their garage and damaging their property. That's your business. You're not taking care of your business. So before you can get into your sister's business, you need to learn how to take care of your own business. Where are you living now?
I'd rather not say in front of them because I don't want them
He's
to
in
know.
hiding, Your Honor.
How did you find him to serve him with the lawsuit?
We served him at work. He works with some family members.
Okay, that's how you were able to serve him.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just ducking and dodging everyone at this point.
That's not true, Your Honor. And
Our family doesn't even know where he lives, and he works with the family.
May I see the estimates for the damages, please?
Yep, absolutely.
Here's what I'm going to do for damages, because you provided the court with a list of over 40 items you say the defendant is responsible for. I take issue with some of the items you provided in your list, because what a tenant is responsible for when they move out is anything that exceeds normal wear and tear.
Correct.
And he lived there for 4 years, so you're going to have, as a landlord, you're going to have some repairs you have to make to the home.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
I did go through your entire list of 40 items. I'm just letting you know, but some of these things are clearly normal wear and tear that he's not responsible for. However, you are going to pay him for the remainder of the damages.
Well, Your Honor, some of the damages, like
Here's my judgment.
Yes.
Stop. $850 for September rent, $1,014 for the past due water bills, $957.50 for the garage door. I have your estimate on that. So that's a total of $2,821. I am also going to order you to pay an additional $1,882 in damages for a total of $4,703. Verdict for the plaintiff. And I'm just going to reiterate to you again, because this is not just your landlord. This is your sister.
That's not my
And
family.
well, you know what? That's your problem, and that's really sad. You have a lot of growing up to do, young
Yes,
man. Verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's sister versus brother.
She said it was a loan. What do you say happened?
I get a thing in the mail and it was a $3,000 check. This is a blessing.
A blessing?
I believe this is more of a
is that?
spiritual issue than a financial issue.
So he tells you he has $6,000 and he needs what?
$3,000.
What was he trying to buy?
And later, a cabinet maker tried to make his customer satisfied.
When did she first tell you that there was an issue with your work? When it was finished?
Yeah.
Did you go back and do any additional work?
Oh yeah, I took all the doors and drawer fronts and sanded them down and refinished them.
Did you pay him then?
No.
You have a lot of experience with remodeling, so you're not the typical person that comes in and has absolutely no knowledge.
Plaintiff Carol Tucker is suing her younger brother for defaulting on a loan on their late mother's home. Defendant Byron Tucker says his sister gave him the money as a blessing, not a loan, because he cared for their ill mother until she passed away.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, this case is Tucker versus Tucker.
Thank you, Barbara. Carol Tucker?
Yes.
You were suing the defendant, Byron Tucker,
Yes.
for $3,000 for an unpaid loan?
Yes.
And you say, sir, that this was not a loan, it was a blessing.
It was a blessing.
So you do not have to pay it back?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We'll start with you, Ms. Tucker. How do you know Mr. Tucker?
He is my brother.
Okay. Older brother?
No, it was 8 of us. I'm number 4 and he was number 7. We grew up in Detroit, Michigan. He later moved to San Diego. And later after that, I moved to San Diego. Got a job, got a car, got a condo. And
do you still work now?
No, I'm a retired chemist.
What kind of chemist were you?
I think I was a good one. It was in San Diego, and we analyzed water. Byron left San Diego and moved back to Detroit. He eventually moved into the house with my mother. My mother lived downstairs. He lived upstairs.
Why did you move back to Detroit?
My father passed. My mother's illnesses started coming up. I was the only logical sibling to move back because I wasn't married at the time. And so I moved back to Detroit and started taking care of my mother. And I did that for almost 10 years.
Excuse me? Are you talking about me and you?
Yes. Yes. I'm talking about me and you.
This is a fantasy.
No.
Well, Ms. Tucker, let me hear what he has to say. So you moved back home to take care of your mother for the last 10 years of her life?
Yes, I did.
And that's true, right?
No, it isn't.
Okay. What do you say happened?
First of all, it was not the last 10 years of her life. My mother was healthy and vibrant. She did all kinds of things. She was a square dancer. Eventually, she had kidney problems. And so she needed someone to be there.
And do you still live in Detroit now?
Yes, I do.
So you stayed there.
I stayed there, I want to be a part of there. And when my sister did come back after my mother had passed, just to visit, she asked me, how are you doing and what's going on in your life? And I said, I'm trying to get my book done. I want to go back in the prison system, be a counselor, and the dental work I got to get done.
Okay, well, hold on one second. I want her to tell me about how this, you say it's a $3,000 loan. I know you say it's something else, but tell me how that happened.
He told me that he had $6,000 of what he needed.
What was he trying to buy?
He wanted to buy the house itself.
The house where your mother
Yes, where my mother lived.
Okay, and how much was the house?
He told me $9,000, and I think my sister told me the same.
Okay, so he tells you he has $6,000 and he needs what?
$3,000.
Okay, and what do you do?
Knowing that I had the money, I would help him based on something my mother told me. She said that Byron was a great help to her. And she said it sincerely, and I believed her. And that drove me to give him that money. Not give it to him, loan it to him.
She said it was a loan. Yes. What do you say happened?
When she came to Detroit, she came up to the apartment, how you doing, how's things going? And I said, I'm kind of depressed because of the fact that I can't get things pushing fast enough moving forward.
On buying the house?
Not just to buying the house, because I had to get my dental work done, I was working on my book. I mean, these are all things that were important to me. It wasn't just the house, it was what was going on in my life.
Okay.
And so I was under the assumption my sister was trying to help me move my life forward. And so anything that blesses me would be good.
Okay, so what was the conversation, ma'am?
Ma'am,
what was the conversation about the $3,000?
There was no real conversation about the $3,000. She said, I want to help you if I can. She went home, San Diego. 2 weeks later, I get a check in the mail. I get a thing in the mail, and it was a $3,000 check. This is a blessing. Okay, that's why I believe this is more.
A blessing? Why don't you tell me?
I believe this is more.
What is that?
This is more
What
of a
is that?
spiritual issue than a financial issue. Because she blessed me, and I believe she gonna get blessed for blessing me. And I wanted her to get blessed. So I didn't want to interrupt the blessing.
In order
from her
to get
getting.
a blessing, Byron, you have to start out with a pure heart.
I got a pure heart.
And I don't think your heart is pure at all.
Ma'am? So, sir, you say that this was a blessing. Did at any point she tell you that this was a loan and she wanted to be paid back the money?
Coming up on Judge Faith, was the money an act of sisterly love?
I was under the assumption that my sister cared about me, wanted me to move forward in my life.
Do you have anything that would prove that it was a loan and not a gift?
I most certainly do.
And later, you can't have it both ways in Judge Faith's court.
Did you write in your answer that you had to get someone else to come in and correct the work?
Yes.
So why did you say that if that didn't happen?
Plaintiff Carol Tucker says her brother owes her money from an unpaid loan. Defendant Byron Tucker believes his sister was blessing him with the money in his time of need.
I was under the assumption that my sister cared about me, wanted me to move forward in my life.
Was there anything said or done at that moment in time when she sent you the $3,000 check that indicated to you that it was a loan that she expected to be repaid?
No.
Okay. Do you have anything, Ms. Tucker, that would prove that it was a loan and not a gift?
I most certainly do.
Do you have the check that you mailed?
Yes, I do. Pay close attention to the memo.
Sir, on the check it says a loan in the memo line.
I didn't pay attention to that, Your Honor. I didn't pay attention to that.
What do you mean you didn't pay attention to it? You saw your name, you saw $3,000, but you didn't pay attention to a loan written in the memo line of the check?
I do not recall.
Because you were more. Now you don't recall.
I don't recall that incident right there when I looked at the check and decided
Mr.
I'd call
Tucker,
her.
Mr. Tucker, the memo line does not say a blessing. It says a loan.
Your Honor, I didn't look at the memo line.
Oh, well, wait a minute. We have something else here. You actually signed a contract?
I do not recall, Your Honor.
Is there something wrong with your memory, Mr. Tucker?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
This was only 3 years ago. You
Yes.
don't recall signing a contract dated October 29, 2011?
I do not recall.
Let me show it to you, sir. Maybe that will jog your memory.
Okay.
Is that your signature, sir?
It looks to be my signature, yes.
But you don't remember signing this document? You don't remember signing this document?
I may have been so excited at the time, I just...
Mr. Tucker, why are you doing this? Your sister clearly loaned you $3,000. Why are you saying that it wasn't a loan?
I believe this is an issue that goes beyond just the money. It wasn't a financial issue. It was a more of a spiritual issue. I really think my sister wanted to move my life forward and help me get forward.
Sir, she was helping you with a loan, not a gift, a loan. Mr. Tucker, what did you do with the $3,000? Did you buy your mother's home?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
What did you do with the money?
Thank you.
I got my dental work done.
You got $3,000 worth of dental work?
Yes, I did.
I am so done with them.
Would you hand that back to the plaintiff?
May I introduce something else?
Sure.
In 2013, my brother put in a birthday card, "We're doing fine," he and his girlfriend, "and we can begin paying you back."
You don't remember that either?
I do not recall that.
Okay, I've heard enough. Mr. Tucker, I think that you did receive a blessing, sir. You were blessed and highly favored with a $3,000 loan from your sister, one that you are going to have to pay back. Don't try to prey on it. Don't try to rationalize it. Just write her the check, $3,000, verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck.
Plaintiff Chad Hatfield is suing the woman who hired him to design custom kitchen cabinets. He is seeking $2,750, which is the remainder of his fees. He says he had to redo the work free of charge, but the defendant still wasn't happy. Defendant Patricia Atwood says the job was not done to her satisfaction, and she'll need to hire someone else to fix the cabinets. She refuses to pay the remaining fee.
Chad Hatfield, you are suing the defendant Patricia Atwood for $2,750 for money you say she owes you for work you did for her and she didn't pay you for.
Correct.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm a cabinet maker.
How long have you been making cabinets?
20 years.
And so at some point you enter into an agreement with the defendant to build cabinets for her?
Yep.
What kind of cabinets?
These would be custom bamboo cabinets.
Kitchen cabinets.
Okay, and why did you end up hiring him?
Well, my brother is down the Bay Area taking care of my mom. He has a rental, and I was in charge of fixing it up for the new tenants.
So this wasn't your home, this was
is
a
not my
rental
home.
that
This
you were
is a
fixing
rental,
up?
yes,
Okay.
Yeah. And so I had gone to the local building supply and picked out these bamboo cabinets, very high end, and had gone through all the specs of laying out the kitchen and figuring out what would work and stuff. And just as I'd gotten all figured out, my carpenter said he had a friend who had a space in his schedule that he could do it probably faster and the same price.
And he's the person the carpenter was referring to?
Yeah.
Okay.
I looked at his website. What I really liked about the website, it wasn't just cabinets, it was lots of different things that he's done and a lot of different types of materials.
So who chose bamboo?
I did. I did. I had bamboo flooring. I like the sustainability of it. When he came, I said, well, quality is really important to me. I'm willing to pay for it, and I really like good quality.
Did the two of you enter into a written agreement, or was this all verbal?
It was all verbal.
Okay, and what was the agreed upon price?
$5,000.
Okay, and did you get half of that up front?
Yes, I did.
And then you started doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
He built the cabinets, and you didn't pay him anything else?
I wasn't willing to pay for the remainder, no.
Okay, so when did she first tell you that there was an issue with your work? When it was finished?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to build these?
6 weeks.
Okay, can we look at a photo of them, please? Wow, they look great.
They look beautiful. They really do. From afar, they look beautiful.
So what was the...
Coming up on Judge Faith, is it the defendant's fault for choosing bamboo?
Bamboo splits. That was your choice to use bamboo.
Plaintiff Chad Hatfield believes he did everything he could to please his client. He's suing for the remainder of his fee. Defendant Patricia Atwood claims his work is unprofessional and she'll need to have it redone.
The first email I got was the complaints about lint and debris in the finish.
And
I
runs.
assured her that that was a light protective coating that I put on after installation.
Which is not.
Hold on 1 second. Go ahead.
That would rub off in time.
And so what did you do when she told you that? Did you go back and do any additional work?
Oh yeah, I took all the doors and drawer fronts and sanded them down and refinished them.
And did you pay him then?
No.
Okay, what was the problem? What was the problem after that?
Okay, so first of all, it wasn't just what he said about lint and debris. I have remodeled houses. I've won an award for a house that I had done. I don't do the woodwork, but I often do the finish work, and so I know how to put finish on wood.
Okay, so
and
you
his
weren't
was
satisfied.
not even close. There were so many runs to it. It looked like, excuse my language, but god awful. It was not professional in any way. And so when I met with him, I said that. I mean, we went there and I said, this is not by anybody's standards.
Was that a photo before or after you took the cabinet doors down and redid them?
That's after.
What was the problem after he redid the work? For no additional cost, you just want the rest of the payment, right? Okay. What was the problem then?
That when he put the doors back on, he put in new drill holes that he did not fill. This is one of the cabinets, drawers of the cabinets.
I'll step down and take a look. You can show me what the issue is here.
When he put in new screw holes in, so he hasn't plugged these, right? So now there's holes there. And now look at the crack on both sides. That is definitely structural to the cabinet.
Are you telling me that there were cracks on every drawer?
Not
and
every drawer. You cannot possibly have not noticed it when you installed it or did it. I've done enough woodworking
okay, and so
to know
what were the...
There's no way you can... So I would like to know from you,
ma'am,
how many of them...
Did you look at the inside of the drawers and did you see that there were cracks?
You can't install them without seeing it.
I tried dialogue through email to meet her at the house to address any concerns she had.
So you never saw the cracks, these cracks that I'm looking at now?
That's typical for bamboo.
I know a little bit about bamboo. Bamboo splits. A lot of people who work in construction don't like to use bamboo because of the splitting.
Correct.
So that's what I want you to explain to me.
Bamboo is actually a grass, it's not a wood, so it was very difficult to work with and frays on the ends, and it has fibers that...
If you were making cabinets, would bamboo be your choice of wood to use? Okay, did you communicate that to her at all?
I did, and...
Absolutely not.
Let me see your photos.
Well, there's one that you can see that the piece of bamboo actually split through. So he's tried to glue it. You can see the glue. There's gaps. So he didn't even do a good job of, once he saw the crack, to glue it up.
Okay, next photo.
And then this shows the damage to the edges of multiple cabinets are.
Well,
it goes all the way down here.
But bamboo splits. That was your choice to use bamboo.
It was. But he never at any point during the production of
you
cabinets...
told me you won an award for remodeling. You seem like you've done this a lot and you have a lot of experience with remodeling. So you're not the typical person that comes in and has absolutely no knowledge in terms of what they want. You seem to be very sure of yourself. You wanted to use bamboo.
So can I address the bamboo for a minute?
No. I've heard enough about that.
No, because you didn't. You didn't hear me.
Actually, I did.
He did not?
I just said I did. We're done. Okay. This is not my first rodeo. I hear these cases all the time, and I tell contractors when you finish a job, take a photo of your work. Because whenever issues like this come up, you want to have proof of your work and what you have done. So here we have an issue which is really...
Can I submit these other pictures?
Don't interrupt me again.
I'm sorry.
Have you had anyone come in and correct the work that you say he did poorly?
I had tenants waiting to get in, so I did not have the opportunity. I will have to.
Okay, at some point, did you write in your answer that you had to get someone else to come in and correct the work?
Yes.
So why did you say that if that didn't happen?
When it happens? Yes, I will have to have somebody come and rebuild the cabinets.
But you have had tenants move in and they're living in there now, and no one's had to come in and correct the work you say was substandard, correct?
That's correct.
I have to make sure that you're not someone who is looking at work and sort of embellishing on minor issues so you don't have to pay him $2,500 of money that you owe. Because it's one thing for you to say, okay, you know what, I think there are some issues here. I'm going to have to find someone to correct this, Judge. This is what it's going to cost to get someone to correct this, and I'll pay him the remainder. If it costs someone $500 or $1,000 to come in and correct this, then I'll pay him the other $1,500. But you didn't do that. You just didn't pay him anything else.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
When I look at the cabinets, they really do look like beautiful cabinets, and it looks like he did a good job. Not only did he do it once, but he did it twice. Yeah, there's a small hole where a nail could have been that can easily be covered up in about 30 seconds. The real issue is with bamboo. I don't like the fact that you didn't pay him anything else. I think he deserved to be paid something for his work. You have tenants living in that home, and the kitchen looks beautiful.
It does
looks
from
beautiful.
afar, but not
and I
close.
think he deserved to be paid for his work, and I think I don't think you're being fair in keeping the entire $2,500 from him. So I'm going to order you to pay him the balance, $2,500 plus court costs. That's before the plaintiff.
A friend keeps his roommate afloat.
Not only do I have my son that I have to take care of, taking care of him as well. So it's almost like I have, he's not a tax write-off for me.
But the defendant ships out before he shapes up.
He and I didn't sign anything. He signed the lease. He knew coming in I was going into the military.
Did you not think he was going to bring these text messages to court today?
And later, a homeowner accuses a contractor of leaving his work to his son.
His son took a week and a half to screw down some Durarock and do half of the kitchen.
I've shown him how to do tile. I've shown him how to do just about everything that he's been doing.
Chris said himself he's been doing this for 2 months.
Were you there working for the most part by yourself that week?
Plaintiff Mark Harris Todd is suing his former friend for $899 after he jumped ship on their apartment, leaving him with the bills. He is accompanied in court today by his brother, Martise Harris. Defendant Mark Davis says the plaintiff knew he was going into the Navy and he didn't sign the lease.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, we have Harris Todd versus Davis.
Thank you, Barbara. Mark Harris Todd?
Yes.
You are suing the defendant, Mark Davis, for $899 you say he owes you for unpaid rent and personal loans?
Yes.
And you also have a witness here with you today, Mr. Martise Harris. Why don't we start with you, Mr. Todd? So the two of you were friends for approximately how long before you lived together?
Pretty much the whole 2010 year, and then we moved in 2011 in January.
And what was the arrangement or the agreement?
Prior to him moving in, he had a situation in which he was kind of working to pay his rent off. So we agreed that we can cut some costs and we would move in together. We looked at a house in Marietta. We had our limit set as far as what we wanted to pay for rent. Once we started doing that, we signed a 15-month lease. And,
the 15-month lease? Do you have a copy of that?
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yes.
He said we. First, let me start off by saying the pictures on Google do you no justice.
Okay, sir, let me tell you something. We are not on The Bachelorette.
Okay, got
this
it.
is a gallery. This is not a rose.
I understand it.
Okay?
I understand it. Just want to put that out.
Okay, I'm just letting you know.
Just want to put that out there. But when he said we, he and I didn't sign anything. He signed the lease. He knew coming in I was going into the military.
Hold on a second. He signed the lease, but you agreed that you would live in this apartment, right? Was it an apartment or a house?
Month to month until the time of my departure for boot camp.
What was the total amount of rent?
It was $685 for rent.
I need to move to Georgia. $685. How many bedrooms? How many bedrooms?
It was a 2-bedroom.
2 bedrooms.
But
That's amazing.
The total cost was like $700 and something, but since we signed a 15-month, I signed a 15-month lease.
There you go. There you go.
Right.
They dropped the price. However, it is inaccurate in what he was talking about because he didn't decide to go into the military, nor did he share with me prior to us moving
Prior to you moving in together. Okay,
Yes.
So what happened? You end up not paying some portions of rent, and you end up giving him some loans. Tell me about that.
The reason that he was not on the lease is because he didn't have the credit to get on there at the same rate that I had. I paid a $50 deposit due to my credit. He didn't have that same credit score, And he would have to pay an additional amount in which he said he wouldn't be able to pay and move in at the time that we needed to move in because of his situation. He really wanted to get out of the situation he is. That left.
What situation were you in?
He got all the answers. I'm trying to figure that out. What situation was I in?
I'm asking you. Do you know where were you moving from?
I was living because I knew I was going into the military.
Okay.
I was staying in a like an off-student campus housing. It's kind of like they rent rooms out to college kids, and I was staying downtown off Cascade. Yes. So,
Mr. Todd, go ahead.
So my bills were actually cheaper living there versus moving in.
Well, he didn't force you to move in. You made a choice and you wanted to move in on your own.
Because,
Okay.
because we were cool, we were friends, pound game.
What branch of the military were you joining?
The Navy.
Did you actually join?
I did.
Okay, good for you. Are you still in the Navy?
I am.
Wonderful. That's good. That's good. Okay. So he's living with you January through October, and tell me what happens, because you say there are a number of bills that he did not pay and you covered them for him.
What he's giving you is not accurate, to be honest, because why would I sign not only a lease, but a 15-month lease to move in with somebody that I know is going to the military? Listen, my teacher tells me all the time, we in the one standard deviation above the IQ of normal Americans. Why would I enter into a lease to put myself in a position where I would be looking for another roommate and not have him there the whole time?
Well, what was the issue? Because you went through some times where you weren't able to pay your rent. What was going on with you?
No, it wasn't a thing of not paying rent. I did
But
pay
he was
rent.
covering for you a lot, right?
Some.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, he
and,
shouldn't have to do that at all, is what I'm saying.
True that, but he made the conscious decision to do it. We above this IQ level as humans, as he say. He should have been smart enough to say, "Hold up, play."
Well, actually, he was being nice. He was being nice. He could have asked you to leave, but he didn't.
And if he would have asked me to leave, he had his brother sitting right in the living room on the couch. You know what I'm saying?
Who was living in the home? Just the two of you?
Oh no, that one over there too.
Were you talking to me, Judge?
Were the two of you living in the home, or your brother was too?
Yeah.
Step up, sir.
Oh.
What was going on with Mr. Davis during the months that he was living there?
Well, I told my brother that I'd give him money to take some of the weight off of his shoulders. He ended up pawning some of his stuff. Like, a lot of his belongings he had to pawn in order to get money to pay rent, utilities, because all of the things, he had to take care of his expenses as well as his.
Okay.
At the same time, Judge, I did have a son. He was born in June. I feel like not only do I have my son that I have to take care of, taking care of him as well. So it's almost like I have, and he's not a tax write-off for me. We've had multiple talks, and I got text messages. I paid his car note for him so it wouldn't get
So why were you doing all of that?
I did that because at the time, his mom was kind of done with him because he ended up going to jail for unpaid parking tickets.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did.
All right. How long were you in jail for the unpaid parking tickets?
Like 16 hours.
Coming up on Judge Faith, a true he said.
I'm saying that I paid him the money that he's loaned me or given me.
One of the last conversations he said, "How much do I owe you?"
And later, it's a contracting nightmare.
Was that the only work that was done?
That was it.
The entire
For
month
all
of July?
the detail in the contract, that was all that was done.
Get inside?
Was that the only work that was done?
Yes, but we could not get inside.
Plaintiff Mark Harris Todd says he helped his friend over and over again. Now he needs to be paid back, and he's suing for unpaid fees. Defendant Mark Davis says he paid back what the plaintiff loaned him.
When he left to go to the military in October,
yes,
how much money are you saying he owed you?
$2,000.
Okay, and how much has he paid from then up until now?
$1,200.
So you're saying he owes you a remaining balance of what?
$900.
And you say you've already paid all that money.
I'm saying that I paid him the money that he's loaned me or given me. What he's seeking is the cancellation fee of the apartment.
What's the remaining $900 that you're suing for?
The remaining $900, the total amount did include the amount for cancellation. He would always make promises to pay, and we had a discussion about this. I have text messages as well, in which he's asked one of the last conversations. He said, "How much do I owe you? How much do I have left to owe you?"
Let me see your text messages.
And at this time,
Because it seems like he's covering an awful lot for you. There's back rent, there's renter's insurance, utility bills. He paid your car note 1 month?
Yes. And that's the money that I paid him back.
Did you not think he was going to bring these text messages to court today? Or you just don't remember what you wrote?
I remember everything.
You know what? You came in here and you lied to me.
I didn't lie.
Yes, you did.
So
yes, you did. And I have the text messages that show it. These are your words, not mine. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. I am able to send $100 today, and I'm going to send more later this week, most likely Thursday. I'll do my best to pay something every week until it's paid off. Do you remember writing that?
I do.
Okay, that's in June, sir. Then you ask him, what is the remaining balance? And he responds, $900. I was this close to saying he didn't have evidence to prove that you still owed him this money, because I was thinking, this is a ledger, people can come up with numbers, put it on a ledger. I was this close. And I'm thinking, you know, you're in the Navy and honorable, and the code of ethics that goes along with being in the Navy, service, honor, and integrity. But you know what? Just like everybody else, you came in here and you lied to me.
I didn't lie.
Yes, you did.
So
yes, you did. And I have the text messages that show it.
I'm supposed to pay rent for months that
Listen, don't interrupt me. These are your words, not mine. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. You need to get it together. You need to get it together. I would not expect to have to say this to you, but you need to learn to start taking care of your responsibility, and it's going to start with the $900 you owe the plaintiff. I'm ordering you to pay him that judgment, $900 for the plaintiff.
Plaintiffs Emma and Lester Edwards are suing their former contractor for a $3,350 refund on their deposit and lost rental income, claiming his work was shoddy and incomplete. Defendant Charles Gordon Jr. says they wouldn't give him access to the home. He is countersuing for $3,800 in lost wages. He is accompanied in court by his stepson, Chris Monsville.
Lester Edwards?
Yes.
You and Emma Edwards are suing Charles Gordon Jr. for $3,350 for unfinished contracting work and loss of rent?
That is correct.
And I understand you're countersuing, sir, for $3,800 for lost wages?
Yes, sir.
This was a contracting job that you hired the defendant to do in a home you wanted to rent out?
Correct.
Why don't I start with you and you tell me what happened?
Well, I met the defendant on the 19th through a website.
What website?
Craigslist.
Okay.
Talked to him, had a good conversation. Came out, did an estimate on the property, walked through the property, gave me
What kind of property is it?
It's a 2-unit apartment building. We met. He did the estimate and everything. We came to an agreement, came to a price, signed a contract.
Not true.
May I have a copy of the contract?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so you came to terms of the agreement. What exactly was he supposed to do for you?
Well, it's pretty much listed there. He was going to make the apartments livable. It was actually a partially renovated property, so it wasn't a ton of work to do.
There was a ton. If it's partial by, he means one floor was done.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Am I?
No, there is a pretty comprehensive list here in terms of work he was supposed to do, and the agreed upon price was $3,300 for the work?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, and you gave him a deposit of how much down?
$1,650.
So half?
Yes.
Before he started?
Yes.
Did you communicate to him a deadline for when you wanted the work to be completed?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
What deadline was that?
It was a little over a month.
He said he couldn't come because he had a pre-planned vacation that he wanted to spend in Wisconsin with his daughter, which I was fine with. As long as he could start on the day stated in the contract, I had no problem. The day before he was to start, he calls me up and says, listen, I had a death in the family. We're going to be out of town. So I said, okay.
What date was that?
That was the 1st of July. He did not communicate with me for almost 10 days, Your Honor. I had to call him on the 10th because when you're dealing with death, you want to be sensitive a little bit. So I gave him that time. I called him, and then he texted me back the following day saying, oh, I apologize. You know, the storm hit where I was, tore all the trees. There was no way to communicate. After the storm, he said he'd start Monday, which I was able to be there because I was off work. And he showed up with his son. When he showed up with his son, he was there all of 10 or 15 minutes.
Are you his son?
Yes.
Okay, go
Heading
ahead.
to another job, but he left his son there to do the work.
Is that true?
Partially. I was there way more than 15 minutes. But I did leave my son there, yes, to do the door rock on the floor because I don't need to be there for that. screwing some wooding down.
And so what happened?
His son took a week and a half to screw down some Durarock and do half of the kitchen.
And that's like tiling, right?
That's exactly right. And it was not done properly. All of the tiling had to be removed and done over again.
Next on Judge Faith.
When he called me that night, he said it was immaculate.
Are you kidding me?
No,
Did anyone walk on the floor on the tile?
No, Your Honor, that's the
Where
doorway.
would someone walk?
There's
What are
a
they going
doorway
to
that
do
goes
to the
Right there, the
window?
front one. Steve, you want to concede that it's not set right.
Plaintiffs Emma and Lester Edwards say the contractor they hired had his son do the work, and it was incomplete and unprofessional. They are suing for a refund and lost rent. Defendant Charles Gordon Jr. says he supervised the work, and it was well done.
Okay, so what do you have to say about that?
I don't, first off, we were in disagreement on a lot of different things. He had a guy, Looney Tunes is what his name was told me as, I'm Looney Tunes. I said, okay. Now, this gentleman's 24 years old. I've been doing this longer than he's been alive.
Who's 24?
The gentleman Looney Tunes. And it didn't take Chris a week and a half.
I'm sorry, who is Looney Tunes?
He is a second contractor that was doing outside work for me. He was capping the windows on the property.
Okay, so that's why he was there.
Yes.
All right. So the first week that you're there working with your son, you leave him to do most of the work.
Well, not most of the work, Your Honor. Just putting down the Durarock because it only takes one person.
Well, you
one thing he
told me,
says-
why don't you stand up? Sure. Just come over there. You say in your answer you left the project in Chris's capable hands. Were you there working for the most part by yourself that week?
That's what I was supposed to do. I was there specifically to put down the Durarock and the tile.
Right, but you were there by yourself
yeah,
most of that week, right?
He came and oversaw the progress that I was doing.
So he would stop by and see what you were doing.
Yes.
But for the most part, you were
Yes,
there by
for the most
yourself
part.
working. Okay. You left the project in Chris's capable hands.
Yes.
And does he have the experience to do
He
this
does.
type of work?
Putting down Durarock, I mean, I've shown him how to do this. I've shown him how to do tile. I've shown him how to do just about everything that he's been doing.
Chris said himself he's been doing this for 2 months.
I've been working for him for over a year and a half.
Let's see what Chris did. Let's look at his work.
That is what Chris did.
In a week's
In
time.
a week's time.
Was that a week's
The-
worth of work?
The completed with the Durarock and the tile, yes, a week. But the Durarock got down in 2 days.
I see issues with the tile in this photo. Do you see any?
Well, that's not how I left it.
How do you say you left it?
It was, the tiles they were a lot straighter than that. What's in that picture?
May I say
So
something
you
about
think
that?
the tiles were subsequently moved around
Yes.
after you left?
I believe they were walking.
Yeah, you can see the first one how it's pushed down.
Sir,
It's walking
sir,
on.
hold on a second.
You're right.
It's the floor. People are going to walk on the floor. So the
There has
tiles
to be
shouldn't
time.
move.
It has to dry. It has to
And
set.
how long does it need to dry before the tiles can be walked
At
on?
least 24 hours. But like I said, they were working on their own projects. They were in and out, so.
So you're saying while you were laying the tile, people were walking over it?
Yes.
Who was doing that?
His labor, Looney Tunes.
And who? Okay, did you have a conversation with Mr. Tunes and tell him not to walk on the tile because you're working?
Yeah. One more thing. When he called me that night, he said it was immaculate.
Are you kidding me?
No,
Did
I'm not kidding you.
did
because I do
anyone
well,
walk on the
good
floor?
work. Whatever.
Did anyone walk on the floor on the tile?
No, Your Honor, matter of fact, the part that he did, there would be no reason why anybody walk on the door because
Steve, you want to concede that it's not set right.
Was that the only work that was done?
that was it.
The entire
For
month
all
of July?
the detail in the contract, that was all that was
Couldn't
done.
get inside. We couldn't get
So
inside.
my question is, was that the only work that was done?
Yes, but
Okay.
we could not get inside. They never had keys to let us in. Looney Tunes never
Looney
had keys.
Tunes was there.
They didn't have
Remember?
keys to let us in.
Looney Tunes
He
was
never
there.
had keys.
He
never had keys.
He had keys.
No.
First he's not there and he's there.
No,
But
he was there
but
to
anyway,
tell me
but
my
that's
job,
beside-
then he wasn't there to let
that's
me back
besides
in.
the point. Let me
It's not beside the point, it's a fact.
So you're
facts.
saying that the reason why that's the only work that was done was because
Yes.
you didn't have adequate
We had
access
no access.
to
We
the
had no
house?
keys after that either.
They
Matter of
said
fact-
they were in the house for a week, and that's all you got done in a week.
What's your counterclaim about?
Lost wages from him. Now we couldn't do any other work because we
you
were
were
waiting
at
to do
another
this
job every
A lot of
day.
time I was not at a job every other day.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
When you've been paid to do a job, they've already paid you half of the money, and that's the only work you've done, and you're telling me various reasons they wouldn't let me in, I didn't have access, and then I have someone here who has a contract and clearly is trying to get work done by the end of the month so he can have a tenant ready to move into that unit. I don't believe that he would have you sitting around every day, all
And yet
day,
that's the case.
not able to work. And he's
And yet
already
that's
paid
the
you.
case.
He's
Can I
already
please
paid you.
say something?
We're done
No?
talking. Now, I'm no construction expert, but I don't have to be to look at that photo of the tiling in that kitchen to know that it looks atrocious. And if I were them, I wouldn't want to pay for it either. Now, I know you're trying to do the noble thing and work with your son and teach him the business. He's next in line to take it over, but he's not ready to work by himself because look at the product that he's producing. And this is your name on the line. This is your company. He's not ready. I'm going to order you to refund the plaintiff's deposit, $1,650 plus court costs, judgment for the plaintiff. Your counterclaim is dismissed.
A homeowner hires a contractor for a basement upgrade, but his work downstairs was below standard.
That's a recessed light, Your Honor. That's totally covered up.
No, it's not.
What's your issue with that?
It's an overcut. It's too big.
He says she wanted more than was paid for and bullied him with threats.
She started threatening court, and I go, okay, that's it. I said, Charlotte, I'm trying to be reasonable here, but I'm not going to take this, and I walked out.
Now, Judge Faith will determine why she tipped if she was unhappy with the handiwork.
You end up paying him the full amount for the work after it was finished, but now you say that there are all of these problems.
Plaintiff Charlotte Dobozensky says she hired a contractor to remodel her basement, but he was unlicensed and did sloppy work. She's suing for $3,000 in repairs. Defendant Chris Dahl says his client kept changing her mind and then slandered him to the labor board. He is countersuing for $1,500 for defamation of character.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, we have Dobozensky versus Dahl.
Thank you, Barbara. Charlotte Dobozensky?
Yes.
You are suing the defendant, Chris Dahl, for $3,000. You hired him to do some construction work in your home?
Yes.
And according to you, his work was substandard. And
Yes.
you want to be refunded a portion of the money you paid him?
Yes.
Okay, tell me what's going on here.
Well, I met Chris. I saw his ad in the newspaper in November of 2013, and I wasn't planning to do my work until spring. But I met Chris. He came and gave me a bid for more work than I ended up having him do.
What kind of work were you looking to have done?
Framing in, because it was just a bare basement, concrete block walls and concrete floor.
Okay, so this was sort of a drywall job, a drywall installation job?
Well, first it has to be framed in, for the rooms, and then the drywall.
Okay.
And mudding, texturing, priming, painting, the whole 9 yards.
And so did the two of you enter into a written agreement as
We
to
did.
what work he would do? Do you have a copy of that?
I do.
Okay, so we'll start
This
with
is
that
the
one.
November one, and then this is the one in April.
Okay, so in these agreements, you basically outline the work that he would do and the price that you would pay him. And what was the
Correct.
total price you ended up paying him?
I ended up paying him $10,300.
Okay, tell me what happened and why you believe this didn't work out for you.
Well, first of all, I had him come in November, and then I couldn't reach him all of January, February, March, and I left several voice messages on his cell phone. He called me back in maybe the first part of April and had said that he was out of town working in Montana and that he was going through a divorce. He apologized for not returning my call, that, things had been really messy for him personally.
He hadn't started the project then, right?
Right.
So you
because-
decided to hire him even though he wasn't returning your calls?
Yes, I did, because, when he told me he was going through a difficult divorce, and I felt sorry for him.
Okay.
At any rate, he came again, and at that point, I decided to have someone else do the framing.
Okay.
And so this other fellow did the framing, and then I had hired both the plumber and the electrician to do the work they had to do. The electrician came in after the framer and did the roughing in electrical. There was a lot of electrical that needed to be done. A bedroom, an office, a bathroom, 12 recessed lights in the great room.
Okay, but his work was mainly doing the work in the basement.
The drywall.
Or the drywall.
And he had the drywall. He bought the drywall and had it delivered. And in the meantime, because of the electrical work that had been done, there was a building inspector that had to come and inspect what the electrician had done. And he looked at the drywall and he said, "Where's your permit for the drywall?"
Did she need to have a permit to install the drywall?
Yes, Your Honor, and that was taken care of. Usually the homeowner does it, sometimes the contractor does it. You can either person can do it.
Okay, and so who did it in this case?
I did,
Okay.
because it had to be, he was supposed to start that weekend, and it wasn't there. And the building inspector said to me, he can't start until it's there. And
So there was a question in your mind because he didn't even raise that issue with you prior to his start date.
And
which
I
is just
didn't
a
know
few
that
days
there
away.
needed to be a permit for drywall.
Okay. So let me ask you, Mr. Dahl, how long have you been in the business of doing
It's
construction
been
work?
about 16 years, Your Honor.
Okay, and do you have your own business?
Yes, I do.
Do you specialize in doing drywall, or do you do various types of construction projects?
I say I would specialize in various ones, but it's drywall, painting, and texturing would be my main job.
And do you get most of your customers from advertising in the newspaper, like the plaintiff saw you?
I would say it's probably half that and half referrals.
Okay.
Both.
And you had no experience you didn't get a referral for him or anything
No.
like that? Okay, go ahead.
I hired him because he presented himself so well, and he told me that he had, I think he said 20 years of experience, and that he warranted his work, so that I didn't have anything to be concerned about. Everything would be taken care of, and if I had any concerns, he would take care of it.
Okay. You end up paying him the full amount for the work after it was finished, but now you say that there are all of these problems. So tell me.
There were problems right during the whole proceedings.
Did she bring up concerns to you during the project?
She probably complained about everything except my job, except when she called me about a week later and said there's a few
After the
touch-ups.
job was
right.
completed.
And after she gave me a $300 tip and said what excellent work I did.
That's not true.
You gave him a $300 tip?
I did give him a tip because
And I
he
have
told me
proof of
about
that.
his 5 boys. He was going through this nasty divorce. I mean, I'm telling you the truth. And I told him right along, Chris, I am not happy with the gray stripes in the ceiling. What's going on? Well, he said, if I put any more mud on there, it's going to
Let me see your
crack.
photos. Let me see the photos. Let me see all the photos. I want to take a look at all of them. So you pay him the full amount of the contract, although you say you expressed all of these problems to him throughout his work.
Right.
And then you tip him $300, and you say that's because you felt sorry for him.
I
In
felt
my
sorry for
mind,
him.
but did you look at the work when he finished, and then you paid him, and then you tipped him $300?
She had a week to look at the work also, and she would be down there every single day staring at it. She called me a week later, said there was a few touch-ups to do. I said, and I didn't have a problem with small touch-ups, but when she asked me to redo the ceiling, I said, Charlotte, I'm not doing that.
Coming up on Judge Faith, are the complaints legit, or is she just never satisfied?
That's not acceptable. That's substandard work. And he couldn't have put 3 or 4 coats of mud on there.
What do you think about the lines? I do see the lines.
I see that line. I have no idea that was not there. I see one there and one over there. What I'm saying is, if another contractor did this, that easily could have been manipulated in those pictures.
Are you kidding me?
Plaintiff Charlotte Dobozensky claims she signed a contract to upgrade her basement, but the shoddy work needed repair. She is suing for the cost of fixing oversights. Defendant Chris Dahl says his client kept changing her mind and threatened to slander his reputation. He's countersuing for defamation of character.
You say that you felt sorry for him, that's why you tipped him $300, but why did you pay him?
I was a bit intimidated by him as well.
Okay.
He's in my house. I'm not there. I'm leaving the house open for him to come in through the house all the time.
When did you get the courage to approach him and say, hey, I don't like the work
I told
that you
him
did?
that halfway into
About
it.
every 3 or 4 days, she would bring me down snacks also, by the way, and stuff
Yeah,
that
I
she
did
made,
feed him.
and
I brought
cookies.
him lunch and brought him cookies and
Saying
stuff.
what a wonderful job
I was trying
doing.
to. Never told him it was a wonderful job. Never told him.
And how happy
Chris,
we were.
stop lying.
And how lovely it looked.
He's full
she said
of
the same
crap.
thing about the river rock on the chimney, and then 2 days later she said, well, this rock should be over here, this
So
rock
you're
should be
saying
over
a
here.
week
She's
after
a
she paid
perfectionist.
you all of the money,
Yes.
over $10,000 and a $300 tip, you say a week later you get a phone call about your work. Tell me about that.
She left a message, and she just basically said, Chris, I just had a couple concerns. There's some touch-ups, a couple small holes. There's a couple spots on the ceiling, the texture that didn't look right to her liking. And
What did you do?
And I showed up, and she had some guy with her as a witness, I assume. And I had some tape with me. I have no problem doing touch-ups, you know. A little nick here by the stairs, a little texture by the stairwell, one by the fireplace, a small line. And, you know, I was marking these spots, and then she started talking about the ceiling. and she said she didn't like one joint going all the way across. There was like a shadow or something. I couldn't see anything.
Long story short, you told her that you could not do the work that she wanted you to do without being paid more.
I just didn't want to do it because it was fine. It was perfect.
Okay.
It was totally fine. And then she started threatening court, and I go, okay, that's it. I said, Charlotte, I'm trying to be reasonable here, but I'm not going to take this. And I walked out. And then she started threatening about, well, I'm going to go on every website. I'm going to ruin you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I go, okay, you do what you have to do. And I just walked out.
Did you talk
I
to
have no reason to
someone?
lie.
So let me ask you something. During this week time period, because you agree it was about a week before you contacted him. Right. Did you have someone else come in and look at it and tell you, you know, this isn't good?
Yeah, he's flying under the radar. And the reason he didn't, I'm assuming, the reason he didn't get a permit is because he's not licensed.
Okay. Do you have to be licensed to do this
Actually,
type
you
of
don't,
work?
and I have proof of that.
You do need to be licensed in Minnesota to do drywall.
No, I'm certified in the state.
I have a letter from, I went down to the building inspector because Chris only gave me his phone number. He lied and told me he lived in Barnum. I showed them his contract and his new ad in the paper, and they said, he's not licensed to do this.
Okay.
And so they said,
Let's
get
look
a
at the
hold of
photos. I mean, because he did the work, so we're beyond that. And you paid him
That's
over
an overcut
$10,000.
on the ceiling. They have to be, you know, they put the...
That's a recessed light, Your Honor. That's totally covered up.
No, it's not.
No, when the new light goes on,
It's
none of that
not.
shows. When the new
It's
light.
not.
Okay, you installed the cup as well?
No, I didn't install any of that. Just the
Okay.
sheetrock going
Just the
over
sheetrock?
it, right? And
Okay.
she told me she was getting bigger recessed lights to cover all that up.
I didn't tell him that. I don't know what
That's
they
what
were.
contractors do. You need to cut around there, obviously, to put it on.
Right, hold on
It's
one
not going to
second.
be perfect.
What's your issue with that?
It's an overcut. It's too big. The recessed light would not fit in there, and I have got a contract.
There's a little bit of a gap in between.
There is a gap.
Okay, go ahead, next photo.
You can see the gray marks between the joints.
Right.
And that's not acceptable. That's substandard work. And he did not put, he couldn't have put 3 or 4 coats of mud
What do you think
on
about the
there.
lines? I do see the lines.
I see that line. I have no idea that was not there. I see one there and one over there.
Oh,
what I'm saying is, if another contractor did this, that easily could have been manipulated on those pictures.
Are you kidding me?
That's what I was told.
These are
is
photos
another
of
contractor did
his
this.
work?
These are the photos of
Okay.
his work before they started.
What is this?
I honestly have no idea, Your Honor. I would not have gotten paid if I would have left that, though.
Okay.
That would be a corner of a wall.
This is after the recessed lights are in, and this is the good work after it's been redone. You don't see any lines.
So you hired another contractor to come
Yes.
in, okay, and do the work. How much did you pay the new contractor?
$2,600. I gave him $2,500, and I gave him a tip because I actually had 2 come.
May I have a copy of the proof that you paid a new contractor to do $2,500 worth of work?
More than happy to give that to
Let's
you.
look at the next photo.
This is, and this will actually tell you, and that's, these are good, the good pictures. I wanted you to see, he also overcut the outlets.
Okay.
That's what you're supposed to do.
No, you got to put a,
She's not showing you the lights, the recessed lights that actually covered up.
Okay, let me get this invoice.
You need to put the sheetrock on.
you
by cutting
recess
it.
lights over the outlets?
Coming up on Judge Faith, a professional drywall inspector studies the quality of construction.
Sheetrock around it is overcut some, not very neatly.
Plaintiff Charlotte Dobozensky says her contractor muddled her basement remodel and is suing for repairs. Defendant Chris Dahl said his client sought additional work for free, then cried foul. He's countersuing for defamation of character.
You did bring proof into court today that you hired someone shortly after she paid you over $10,000 to do the work, and the person came in and they charged $2,500 to do work that you missed and did additional skimming, sanding, and texturizing of the drywall and uneven surfaces, and you also brought in proof of payment to that individual. I'm no drywall expert, but I do have someone here who is, so I want to bring out a witness, R.T. Jones. He's an expert on home repair and drywall, and I want to ask him a few questions about the photos you submitted and the work that you did, sir. Come on out, Mr. Jones. Prior to this case, did you have an opportunity to view a number of photos submitted by the plaintiff and photos of the defendant's work?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Okay, and I want you to go over to the flat screen, please, and I just want you to provide me with some analysis of some issues you may or may not see. Can you tell me what this looks like to you?
Certainly, it looks like a lighting fixture in the ceiling that the drywall around, or the sheetrock around it, is overcut some, not very neatly. But depending on the fixture that's going in here, trim can certainly cover that and you would never see it. Some of them have very narrow trim or sometimes go right to the edge of the drywall, and in those cases, you would need it cut very precisely and very neatly. But if you have one that has a wider trim plate around the edge,
and I did ask her about that too,
you wouldn't
Your
need
Honor, and
that.
she told me they were wide.
Okay, next photo. Okay, can you tell me what the issues are with this?
well, again, the issues with not being completely neat around the holes for the lights, and you can also see the gray lines on where the edges of each piece of material were on the ceiling.
And is that something that you're supposed to see?
No, you shouldn't see that when the work is finished. Absolutely not.
Okay, next photo. What is this?
It certainly isn't a neat job. That's something that should be smoothed out, and you shouldn't see that at all. You shouldn't see that
I would
edge.
agree 100%.
And so what is that? Is that tape that you're supposed to put the mud, the compound, joint compound over that, and it's supposed to be covered and smooth?
Yes, it should be covered and smooth. Eventually, after you get it down to the right, after you've done several coats, you then sand it down and you paint over it or you do your texture, and then in theory, if all the work is done correctly, you wouldn't see it.
Okay, so now these are just 3 photos that I have in the flat screen, but you viewed numerous photos that the plaintiff submitted of the defendant's work. And did you analyze those photos and come to a conclusion about the drywall job?
Yes.
Okay, what is that?
By and large, I mean, some of the work looked fine. Some of the work looked, substandard. It did clearly need repair in some instances. It's a job that if I were doing myself, I would have come back and repaired at no additional cost.
And I had no problem
error.
doing that either.
You also had an opportunity to review I want you to come over here and just take a look at this. This is an invoice that a new contractor came in, and it shows the work that he did to, as the plaintiff states, repair the defendant's work. What do you think about the cost that he charged for the new work? And was that work necessary to correct the defendant's work, some of the faults that you say you saw?
Yes, Your Honor. This work was definitely necessary to correct everything that's listed on here.
Okay.
I think the price might be a bit high based on the pictures that I saw, but yes, it would have needed to have been done.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate your testimony today.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
After he completed the work and you had an opportunity to view the work, you paid him anyway and tipped him $300. And so in my mind, that tells me this is not the time to interrupt me. We're done with the testimony. And in my mind, that tells me that you were satisfied.
I wasn't satisfied.
And then somehow, some way, you came to the conclusion that you wanted to approach him again and talk about the work.
I was approaching him the whole time he worked.
Ma'am, I said do not interrupt me.
I'm telling you something
I
you're not
said do not
listening.
interrupt me.
You're not
This is not an
listening.
argument. This is not an argument. You have no idea what I'm about to say, and you're thinking I'm about to say one thing and I'm about to say something else,
All
but your
right.
case is going to get dismissed if you keep interrupting me.
All right.
If you let me
All
do
right.
my job, all right? So you paid him the full amount for the work and then tipped him $300. However, based on the expert testimony that was submitted in court today by R.T. Jones, some of your work was substandard and should have been corrected, where the plaintiff actually submitted proof that she paid a new contractor, and I'm looking at the invoice that the new contractor submitted, and it coincides with the work that you were supposed to do. So she did pay somebody else $2,500, and I have the checks. They went through her bank account. She paid someone else $2,500 to come in and correct the work that you were supposed to do. So based on the evidence and based on that proof, I'm going to order you to pay her $2,500 for the work that the other contractor had to come in to do to correct your work. That's my judgment. Have a good day.